Now, the last test level in SDLC is acceptance testing. Acceptance testing starts after system testing is done and all major defects are resolved. So once system testing starts, its purpose is to find as many defects as the test team, independent test team, can find and resolve those defects. So in system testing, testers find those defects and developers fix those defects. And so once all the major defects found in system testing are resolved and fixed and resolved and tested, after that acceptance testing starts. Acceptance testing is most often responsibility of customer, but other stakeholders are also involved. So it depends. I mean, if you have a customer or a client who has asked who has given a contract to a company to develop a software, acceptance testing is the responsibility of that client. If a company is just implementing out of the box software solution from some other company into its financial system, so it's the responsibility of the company that is implementing that out of the box financial system, financial software into the company, to do the acceptance testing of that out of the box software. So it's most often the responsibility of the customer who is buying the software, who has given the contract to develop the software. However, different stakeholders are also involved in acceptance testing. So like the project managers or the product managers are also involved in the acceptance testing. The main goal in acceptance testing is to establish confidence in the system. So the main goal of acceptance testing is to develop the confidence in the system, that system does what it is supposed to be. It fits the end user requirement. So in order to establish the confidence in the system, acceptance testing is done. Test environment for acceptance testing should be in most aspects representative of production environment, as if production. So once the software or a system is implemented or deployed in a for acceptance testing, so the environment of acceptance testing should be as if production, should be very near to production, because only then it will show the clear picture of the system or software to the end user or to the stakeholders that are doing the testing. Finding defects should not be the main focus of acceptance testing. So as in system testing, finding defects was the main focus, but in acceptance testing, finding defects should not be the main focus. The main focus should be to determine if the system fits the purpose, if it is fit for purpose, if the system does what it should do, if it is fit for the users that would be using that system, if it is fulfilling the user requirements or not. So that should be the purpose, main focus of acceptance testing. Acceptance testing occurs at more than just a single level. So it's not like acceptance testing just occurs at one level and never after that. So it can occur at different levels depending on what sort of application or software you are going to deploy. So for example, a commercial off-the-shelf software product may be acceptance tested when it is installed or integrated. So as I told you an example of financial system, suppose a company wants to acquire a financial system, wants to buy out of the box financial system from a third party and wants to deploy it in their existing financial system. So they need to acceptance test that out of the box commercial off the shelf software before installing it, before buying it, installing it, and integrating it in their local environment. So they should acceptance test that software and make sure that it is fit for the purpose that they are buying it for. So commercial of the software needs to be acceptance tested when it is installed or integrated. Then acceptance testing of any usability of a component may be done during component testing. All right. And then acceptance testing of a new functional enhancement may come before system testing. So if there is any functional enhancement, then acceptance testing of that functional enhancement may come before system testing. So there is no hard and fast level defined for acceptance testing. It can come before system testing, it can be done after system testing. For commercial off the shelf software, it can be done at completely different level. Then forms of acceptance testing. Acceptance testing can be classified into different forms, like user acceptance testing, operational acceptance testing, contract acceptance testing, compliance acceptance testing, alpha testing, and beta testing. So we'll go through different forms of acceptance testing one by one. So let's take user acceptance testing. So user acceptance testing focuses on functionality and validates fitness for use of the system. So user acceptance testing just focuses on the functionality, whatever functionality are being developed and delivered, and whether those functionalities are fit for use, are fulfill the end user requirement, and they are fit for use. Then business users and other stakeholders should be heavily involved into it. So business users who will actually be using the software being delivered or the functionality being delivered should be heavily involved, because it is those users who will be using the software or the functionality that is being developed. So once they will use it and they find it suitable and find that the functionality that is being developed fulfills their requirement, then that will gain more confidence in the system. So business users and stakeholders should be heavily involved in user acceptance testing. Then UAT test environment should be very close to production environment. So this we discussed in previous slide as well, because it should be very close to production environment if you want to get the actual picture of the software in the production environment. Then the second type of acceptance testing is operational acceptance testing. So operational acceptance testing validates if the system meets operational requirements. So user acceptance testing is more of related with the functionality and whether the functionality that are being implemented are fit for end user need. But operational acceptance testing validates if the system meets operational requirement, and it is also known as production acceptance testing. So some of the tests to include in operational acceptance testing are testing backup restore, high availability or disaster recovery, and then testing user management, testing maintenance tasks for the software, testing periodic checks of security vulnerabilities. Okay, so these are some of the operational acceptance testing that needs to be done, because if the system is deployed and you are not able to take regular backups and restore the data, then it definitely makes no sense, because the banking system needs to backup data very frequently, and they need that's the critical kind of requirement for any banking systems. So testing, backup, and restore, these are very critical requirement for any enterprise level application. Then high availability. So suppose one web server got down, so it should switch over to other web server, and your application should keep on running. So like for example, your Amazon and eBay websites, these e-commerce platforms, if they get down for even an hour, there is a loss of millions involved in that. So high availability and disaster recovery is very important. So these are some of the operational acceptance testing tests that need to be done in operational acceptance testing. Then contract acceptance testing. So it is performed against contracts acceptance criteria. So contract acceptance testing is performed against the contract. So contract is defined in beginning when a client signs a deal with an organization for developing software or for implementing any application. So contract acceptance testing is performed against any contracts or acceptance criteria that are being defined in the contracts. And acceptance criteria for contract acceptance testing is formally defined before signing the contract. So any acceptance criteria for contract acceptance testing should be defined formally defined before signing the contract. Then the other acceptance testing is compliance acceptance testing. So compliance acceptance testing is also known as regulation acceptance testing. Compliance acceptance testing is performed against the regulations, that is government, legal, medical, or safety. So any sort of compliance that is required for a software, for which the software has to be compliant, needs to be acceptance tested in compliance acceptance testing. So there are many banking application or medical applications or air safety application, road traffic controls. So all these kind of software which are pretty critical and are can cause severe damage to human life and to the property, requires a lot of government and legal regulations. They need to follow government and legal regulations. So for those regulations to test whether those software meet those government and legal regulations, compliance acceptance testing is performed. Then comes the alpha testing. So alpha testing is done at the developer site by independent test team, potential end users and stakeholders. So alpha testing is done at the developer side. So wherever developers are developing the software, it's done there, but developers are not involved. Independent test team does that alpha testing, and potential stakeholders and end users are involved in that alpha testing. Alpha testing is mostly done for commercial off-the-shelf software to ensure internal acceptance testing before moving the software for beta testing. So usually if there is some company which is developing a software, off-the-shelf software for mass market, so alpha testing is mostly done for those kind of software for products which needs to be internal acceptance tested by potential group of end users or independent test team or stakeholders or product managers before moving the software to beta testing to the actual market. So suppose some time ago you would have seen Gmail was in beta a few years ago. So Gmail would have been alpha tested by Google inside their premises by independent test team. Potential there would be invitation sent to potential end users to use Gmail, and other stakeholders would have been involved to do alpha test of Gmail. And then once they were satisfied with the alpha test, they moved it to beta test for all the end users. And we were kind of using Gmail beta a few years ago before actually releasing Gmail full-fledged working version of Gmail. So alpha testing is mostly done for off-the-shelf software, which are the softwares which are meant for the mass market. Alpha testing provides feedback to the developers directly from the customer. So since potential end users and stakeholders and independent test team is involved in alpha testing, so developers get direct feedback from the customers or from the potential end users or the customers. Then beta testing or field testing. So beta testing is done after alpha testing. So alpha testing is done at the customer side, in the developer side, in the developer premises. Beta testing is done once alpha testing passes. So beta testing is done by the potential or existing users. So there might be invite sent to an existing user to do alpha testing. So same users can do beta testing as well, and other potential users are also invited to do the beta testing. So it is done by potential or existing users, customers and end users at the external side without developers involvement. So in alpha testing, developers are involved because it is done in developers side, but in beta testing it is done on external side, either done by the potential customers which have already bought the previous version of the product, and this is a new version that the company is trying to roll out. So either those customers have access to the beta testing, or any potential new customer or other stakeholders do the beta testing in the external side without developers involvement. Then beta testing is done to acquire feedback from mass market. Beta testing is done to acquire feedback from mass market because these alpha and beta testing are done mostly for commercial off-the-shelf software. So they are done to acquire feedback from end user, the actual mass market. So to conclude, in this session we learned about different test levels in detail. So different test levels were component testing or integration testing, component testing or unit testing. Second level was integration testing. Third level that we learned is system testing, and fourth and final was acceptance testing. We have gone through all these test levels and understood all these test levels in detail in this session. Thank you.